to the Thursday Taylor Treasures Talk Show. So I want to introduce a special guest today. She's been on the channel before, but not this talk show / podcast. This is my mom.
Hello.
This is her.
Hi.
If you want to call her Ann, you could do that too, because she's not your mom. So today we're going to talk about hopefully two things. The first is how to do a DIY wedding, because Laura recently got married and we tried to do it on the best budget that we could. So that meant that we had to do a lot of things on our own. So we're going to talk about that first, and then hopefully if we have time at the end, we're going to talk about the difference between Laura's wedding and my mom's wedding, just over the years, see if things have changed. So I guess we can get started. What do you want to start with DIYing a wedding?
Let me see. What can I start with? I guess I can say that maybe why DIY? Why do it yourself? There's lots of people that can, and I'm happy for them, that can go to like a all-encompassing venue and just say what they want, and then they'll do everything, or they'll do a lot of it. I don't think they do everything, but they'll do a lot of it. But it can be expensive, so we had to do it on a budget, and we're really excited for Laura and Bobby, our now son-in-law, and we had to follow a budget, so we had to just do things differently. So it wasn't our situation that we could go and just go to a hotel or a venue and just have them do everything. And we had a whole year, so we had a lot of time. So I thought, I can share what we did because we are not experts, and that's why I thought it was interesting when Lucia asked me, because I'm sure you can buy 100 different books and planners and all sorts of things like that. But we had been to a lot of weddings, but we'd never done one, so it was kind of, when
the first child to get married in the family, so
yeah. So I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know all the details. I didn't know everything, and I just think there's probably a lot of people in that situation. So, and if you don't have a whole year, it's probably you need to make different decisions than we did. But anyway, I can just walk you through the things that helped us. So let me see. I have to make note. I have to have notes because I'm getting used to being on camera because
I use notes too, so
okay,
you can't remember it all.
Good to know. Good to know. I mean, the fact that I'm doing this is because
she doesn't like to be on camera.
No,
so this is.
No, I don't.
No.
But I'm more comfortable with it because of my daughter. So you've helped me with that. So we were so excited for Laura and Bobby, but I was like kind of overwhelmed at first. I mean, they wanted to be involved. That was really fun. This wasn't just me planning it, and it wasn't just them planning it. We were all working together, including his family too. So it was exciting, but it was a bit overwhelming. So the very first thing that I needed to do, and that we did, is pray about it. We needed God's help. We knew we couldn't do it on our own, and that is essential because there were so many things that worked out, or somebody provided something. There's just so many good things that we knew we had help, because it's a big undertaking, especially the way that we did it. So I don't know if Lucia, later you can put bullet points up. I mean, I know this is also something people just listen to, but for the people watching it, maybe you can put bullet points up. I'd say the number one thing is to pray about it, because it's very overwhelming and kind of hard to do on your own. And as I said, we had a whole year. So the second thing that I thought was really important, yeah, and please say anything because you were involved in this whole process too.
But she did most of it.
Well,
I
but
helped, but
you did. You were essential. She was the maid of honor, so she had a lot to do. So what we did, and again, not experts, just tips that I'm sharing that helped us, was we picked a moment, a point where we kind of wanted to have the bigger stuff done, or like a lot of the hard work done. And for me, I suggested the end of summer because they got engaged in January. And I thought, spring was coming and then it was going to be summer. So if we could work hard for that time period, then when all those details show up at the end that you didn't think about and you have to take care of, you can just relax to a certain degree. You're not going to be as stressed because you have a lot of it under your belt. So that was, remember me, I kept saying by August or the end of August, let's try to have big things done. Okay. So the first thing is pray. The second thing is decisions. Lots of talking and note taking. Planning books are great. I think for some people they're, I'd say go peruse through them, but there wasn't like one that just had everything lined up for us because we didn't know how it was going to unfold. So this, can I bend over and get this? This was so crucial. A notebook. I know this sounds like so old-timey, but it was so crucial. And if you want to do this on your phones, do it on your phones or iPads or whatever. But for me, a notebook worked and a folder. And so I kept asking people, where's the pink and yellow folder and where's the kind of whitish notebook? So they kind of stood out, and I kept them near me. So keep them near you.
I can't tell you how many times in my life she has asked me to go find her notebook for her for everything. So
yes,
big note taker.
It's my brain. And so, but with this, it was so helpful to write down everything the minute I thought about it. And so I have on here, we had, because Lucia was the maid of honor, we had to do a shower for Laura. So this tab was shower. This tab says wedding. And then I had other tabs that I took off. But this one says like tasks and items to bring. So if you're brainstorming too and you're just writing it all down, like my notes, it's just, you can just feel your way through it so much better. You can cross things off, say that's not going to happen. I might say little phrases that we used. One of them was dream plan. Okay, this is the dream plan. If we can do it, we'll do it. But if we can't, then we can't. So we had that. There was some other phrases like this piece or that piece, because it was kind of like putting together a puzzle. And I got that from a friend who was our wedding coordinator, but not the kind that is there the entire time. She was there for talking at the beginning, giving suggestions and just wisdom and helpful information.
She was mainly for the day of the wedding to just like make sure everyone was in their place and stuff like that, because we had other things on our minds, so she could just focus on that. Right.
And the day before with the rehearsal and setup and all that, she was just indispensable. If you can find someone, please involve someone like that who can do that part for you, because you're right, your mind's on 100 other things. Mm-hmm. And I could say it now, or I could say it at the end. I'll say it at the end. I'll give her name and email if you want to contact her.
But only if you live in the area.
Well, even I was thinking about this. I don't know where things go, but I just am putting it out there. I'm sure she would have a fee, and that'd be her decision. Whatever her fee she would want it to be. We wouldn't take anything. She was such help to us. But maybe she could consult with people, because that was part of it, was just sitting down with her at the beginning, and she kind of outlined some things that were helpful. So just talking to someone who has experience or is a wedding coordinator. But I will give you her name and email if anyone's interested in, in talking to her, because she was really, really helpful. So, okay, so decisions. Lots of talking, lots of note taking. This was where we thought, where's it going to be? Where's the wedding actually going to be? The ceremony, and what size of a wedding do you want? So in the decisions, it was things like what style, what location, what size. And you have to talk about it. The money matters. Who's paying for what? How much are you willing to pay? How much can you pay? And that was not going to say how it all was sorted out, but it was sorted out at the very, very beginning.
It's funny how when you don't experience something, you don't think of all the details that go into it, like a wedding. Like, you don't really know. You had your wedding and you've been around other weddings, but for me, I've only attended, so I haven't really realized how much goes into them, and it's quite a bit.
I know, especially because you were involved in a DIY one, so maybe even more than some people deal with. But it was fun. I want to say that it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. But it is a lot of work. So yeah, so we discussed that at the beginning. Who was giving what money, who was paying for what, and how much. And then that lets you decide on what direction you can go in, what size of the wedding, how many guests. One important thing is what types of guests, because you have to decide. It's different for everybody, but we both, my husband and I, have very large families, and Laura's now husband doesn't have as large of a family. And there are special places in their life where they've made friends that they wanted to come, and we have a lot of relatives. And then you decide, do you want to invite people from work? Again, this notebook, all these decisions, what direction are you going to go in? And I suggest to do that really early. That's what we did. We did it really early, and then we stuck to it. And our decision ended up being that even though there were a lot of cousins of mine and cousins of my husband's, we just had to sort of cut it off there, except for there were a few that came, and it was so nice to have them represented. And they were ones that they were so helpful. They were offering things, and we just felt like we could do a few, but we really couldn't do any. I actually didn't have any cousins. These were some of my husband's, Lucia's dad's cousins. And then we said, okay, so we'll invite Lucia's cousins, Laura's cousins, Bobby's cousins. And, that was kind of our cutoff. So they're cousins, but not our cousins. Work people? None. Right? There was no work people from anybody's job.
I don't think so.
No, yeah, we had to say, because our families are so large, we're can't have any work people. But then there was
also, I don't think we're necessarily extremely close to our work people, so it's...
Yeah, I don't know. I think I heard Laura say at one point she really wished she could have invited the people from her business.
Well, yeah,
she
I guess
yeah, she did. But though that's a very hard thing, and I'll just say that I think the best advice we heard, and the best advice that worked, was to just make the best decision you can, try to explain it to people, and for us, thankfully, they understood. I don't think anybody that I know of was offended. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they understood. so they had friends from different walks of life that they've had. Like Laura had dance friends, and Bobby had friends from school, and Laura had friends from homeschooling, and they were involved, and our families were involved, and were invited. But anyway, we had to decide. I can go on and on. I really do apologize to all of you now, because I can just talk and talk and talk and talk. We had to decide that, and we did. We decided that. We also decided, was it going to be the type of reception with a DJ? Yes. Was it going to be a dry wedding or a wet wedding? They wanted a dry wedding, so that was that. Was it going to be a destination wedding? No. And that might be nice. Again, this is just our story. And if some of it can help you or somebody in planning, then that's great. That's great. So I'll just sort of tell ours, but there's so many options out there. I'm just saying at the very beginning, the second little bullet point would be decisions. And this is some of the stuff. Do you want a destination wedding? Is it a smaller wedding? Ours, due to all the people I described that were invited, it ended up being, I think, a medium size to large. I'm sure people have much larger ones and much smaller ones, so I felt it was medium to large with everybody that was. And the bridal party was, I think, a big bridal party. It was 6 on either side, the Lucia being the maid of honor.
Mr. Anonymous was the best man.
Yes. Oh, that was fun. Oh, he adds so much to everything. It was really fun. So Mr. Anonymous and Lucia were best man and maid of honor. It was great.
During the rehearsal, we were giggling at each other up there.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I gotta give credit to God, because everything just worked out so fun and nice. Really, we came out of it going, this was so wonderful. Really, it truly was. So yeah, that was fun. So they decided, at first they really did go back and forth. Should we just do a really small one, because there are so many? And it was a little lopsided with how many we had versus how many Bobby's side of the family had.
It's a little like, if you've ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's a little like that, with the two sides just not equal.
Yeah, it was, but maybe not as extreme as those two. But yes, we were a caricature of what we were actually dealing with. Yeah. So they decided on the larger bridal party and the larger kind of wedding. Okay. So I just want to say again about this. Every teeny detail, it was like I kept a pen in it, because if I was even in bed and I thought of something, I sat up and I wrote it, and it didn't have to be all organized. I would go through it and cross things off or move them later. Okay, so I'll move on from that. I guess I said everything from that. Number 3, bullet point, take care of the big items first. So once we decided what type of wedding and, size, money, where it was going to be, then it was try to get the place where you want it to be, and get the caterer, get the... We even passed around the idea of making food. No, not for that many people.
And she was really convinced at one point. We all told her, no. It's not happening.
No. Woo!
I remember you saying, okay, so I'll have like all these pots in the kitchen, and I'll freeze it first, so it's not like the week of. No, that's not happening.
No. Very beginning. It's like, no, it's not happening. So that idea went out the window, but for good. It was good. It was really good that it did. Mm-hmm. It would have been impossible. Okay, so get the caterer, get the DJ, get the venue. What were the other big things? I guess things like there was decisions on because it was a DIY. We got a lodge at our local park. A nice big building, 2 floors, lots of room, very very charming in how it looked. But it was painted brown and very large, so it was kind of on the darker end of things. So we needed to lighten it up, and that was part of what went into the decoration part of it. But so we needed to like decide: are we gonna buy tables? I'm sorry, rent tables. Are we gonna use the tables they had, which weren't in the best of shape? I mean, they were sturdy, but I guess the chairs, need a little TLC, and the tables did too, and they would be covered with tablecloths. So we basically, if we had needed to rent tables, should have done that at the beginning. But we did a combination of using some of their tables and some of the tables from our church, and it worked out. So the big thing. So number 3 bullet point: take care of the big items. Number 4, enlist your kind of, I guess I could say, leaders, people in charge of certain parts of it, and try to find your helpers, which, thanks be to God, we had a lot of helpers. And you need helpers for a DIY, for at least a wedding this size. I guess if you did a small one, yeah, you could probably do it all on your own, but we needed helpers, and they were so helpful. We couldn't have done it without them, seriously. So just to show you, for Laura and Bobby's wedding, what we divided up was a friend of mine who's very artistic, and just been a friend since I was 11. She was indispensable helping me with the decorations. She was on decoration duty, and that meant tables, tablecloths, everything decorating its centerpieces, anything else going on. One example is that she knew it was a darker wood in there, lots of windows, but a darker wood, so it needed to lighten up. So she said, let's just fill it with those white round lanterns, and we did, and it worked out well. It was really brightened it all up. So she was great for that. So she and I were in charge of decorations, and we went along with Laura and Bobby were very involved, so they got to talk about all the decorations with us, and we followed what they loved. And Laura likes purples and sage; those were her colors. Lilac in particular, and we talked about white tablecloths, and then lace ones. Partially because, Laura likes flowers and lace, but also because if they aren't perfectly ironed, a lace tablecloth will cover up that on a white tablecloth. And we'd been told by one of the caterers that ironing the tablecloths for that day is really a big job, and you can't always do it perfectly. So we went with getting the lace tablecloths, which went into the notebook. Where were we going to find them? And we had a good friend at church who works at sort of a repurposed store, and she just kept collecting lace tablecloths for us, and it was wonderful. So that was my friend and myself were in charge of the decorations, and then our helpers were Lucia and my husband and my son and Laura and Bobby, and we had other people help. We had friends from church, and we had relatives that also helped in that department. Okay, so that the day before and that day, then we had church friends and relatives who were on the team for helping. And Laura and Bobby had their own category. They were doing things like getting the DJ and the caterer, and or at least finding one. And we went along for tastings, and we picked one that would actually not just bring the food and that was about it. They brought the food, but they also were willing to serve it if you paid a little extra. They were definitely willing to, without paying extra, they were going to serve. Instead of a big cake, we chose cupcakes because there's a friend at church who makes cupcakes. So they were going to help us with many different things that we just wouldn't be able to get to, refilling the dispensers and the drink dispensers and cleaning plates off tables and the cookie table. The cookie table. Have you all heard of a cookie table? I don't think you have. I always thought the whole country did a cookie table for a wedding, but apparently that's a Pittsburgh thing. That's what we do here. We always have a cookie table, and people are so helpful in making the cookies. I'll get back to the caterer. I just want to sort of do an offshoot on this. My one of my sisters, she made so many cookies. I don't know how many dozen. It probably was like 46 dozen, or I don't know, 40 dozen. It was a lot of cookies, different kinds, all sorts of different kinds. And it was just so helpful. And there were so many other people, friends and cousins and people that offered to make cookies. So we had a lot of cookies. So you need someone to arrange the cookie table, and we always have boxes for people to take the cookies home in, because there's always some left over. So the caterer, the one that we decided to go with, that caterer said they'd take care of the cookie table and keep it refilled, keep filling it when people were eating them, and just take care of all these things. So that's why we went, and I recommend that if you get a caterer, it's going to be cheaper to just have them bring the food. And I've talked to some people who said, they brought the food and they set it up, but then they left, and it was sort of self-serve, and you had to bring out more containers once people had eaten through whatever salad or whatever you had out. But it made it a really nice day that they did that we got a caterer that was a little bit more. They weren't even really that much more.
The food and the caterer, that's usually one of the most expensive things about a wedding, is having them, because it was very expensive even with them.
That's so true. It is, and it kind of makes the wedding too. I mean, people
need their food.
They like a nice meal. They do. And I will give 100% credit to this caterer. They made delicious food. Besides giving us the extra service, they made delicious food. And everybody talked about that. And they said they really, really felt special. Like they were really treated to a nice meal. So that was really nice. So yes, Laura and Bobby, were helping to find the caterer. They booked where the reception would be. We did get this lodge because Bobby stayed up till midnight to request it.
Laura stayed up, and then because they were on the phone and she was talking to him, and apparently he fell asleep, so she had to yell into the phone to make him wake up because they're waiting till midnight to book it.
Oh, that's so fun. There's so many cute stories come out too. It's so fun. Yeah, it was priced really well, and as I said, it was very charming and had a lot of potential, but you had to do a lot to it, in terms of the decorations. But they got it because you had to book it 1 year in advance on that day, and that was the only way you could do it. So yes, I guess Laura was the one by the computer waking him up. And they got the minister and the cookie boxes and the flutes for the toast for everybody to drink from, and planned their honeymoon, and then it was really nice. I think because we did that thing, let's have a lot of these things done by August. They were able to add some fun things to their reception that they wanted, like Laura has a pet care business that she owns and runs, and so she wanted to have a little table for people to take home treats to. She had little cute doggy bags. You'll show pictures, right? Mm-hmm. Cute doggy bags and kitty bags and treats for them to take home to their pets. And I have a funny story about that. Should I tell that now?
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the things that we tried to do was keep the cookie boxes. I said that people would take home cookies in these boxes, and they were really cute. They had little cellophane hearts windows on the top of them. They were so cute. But keep them, we asked, somebody, I won't say who, to bring out the cookie boxes after dinner. So we had them in a big box under the table of the cookie table during dinner, because the cookie table is so popular, sometimes people can fill up those cookie boxes before you've even had dinner so that they make sure they get some to take home. But then you're running low on cookies later after dinner. So we didn't have the cookie boxes out when people first got there. We were going to bring them out after dinner. That was the plan. But someone along the way didn't get them out in time, I guess. I'm not really sure if maybe this was before, like they wish the cookie boxes had been out before, the thing we were trying not to do.
This is off topic, but that's the third plane within like 40 minutes. We have planes, but like that's a lot within.
Maybe something's going on.
Well, if you hear that, that's what it is, planes flying overhead.
Yeah, we're in a flight path. The airport's that way. So, apparently these little kitty bags and dog bags, dog treat bags, they were little paper bags. They were so cute, with, I think, their wedding names were on there and something. It was decorated. They got them from Etsy. Etsy's a nice place. So people were taking the doggy and kitty bags. I only found this out today. I'm not joking. Somebody sent me a text that it was hysterical that they were filling their kitty and doggy bags with cookies.
And get them somehow.
And then when the cookie boxes came out, they started using the cookie boxes. But until then, they were making sure they got their cookies in the little kitty and dog bags. So funny. And then, but we weren't sure that people would really take these treats home to their dogs and cats, but they did, because the treats that they had put out for the animals were almost all gone by the end of the day. So they did pack them up for a little doggy bag for their pets at home. Anyway, my point was, because you try to get as much done early, you have some room later when it's getting closer to the wedding to do these fun things that we called the dream plan. Not all the dream plans were done, but some of them did get done, because we did a lot of planning and a lot of work with this notebook and this folder beforehand. So that doesn't even cover everything Laura and Bobby were doing, but they were doing quite a bit like that, and they were having fun. They wanted to be doing it. And another group of people was Bobby's parents. They were providing all the tablecloths, and his mom was ironing them all, and she found a fantastic way. Here's a tip for everybody. If you're doing a DIY wedding and you want your tablecloths to be nice, without having to iron them that day, because who has time the day before when you're setting up to be ironing? She got a round cardboard tube, as far as I know. Do I have this right? I think it was pretty, kind of like a construction worker would use it for something. Cardboard tube from the hardware store. And she hung it in her basement, and when she would iron them, she would hang them over so it wasn't creasing. They were just round. It was rounded, and she was hanging them over, so they were in good shape.
Also, it's good to get a steamer for like dresses and stuff, because that's really a lot easier than ironing.
That's true. Thank you for bringing that up. All the dresses, the groomsmen, what they're wearing, and the girls, their dresses. They were Lucia was sage, and then everybody else was lilac. It was so pretty. I'm assuming you'll show pictures. Um, but that was one of those. I didn't list it, but one of the big things. Do the big things early. That was all figured out and planned out very early on, and they got discounts on the men's suits or tuxes. I guess they were tuxes because they ordered them so early. So doing things early saves you money too. So and then you're not stressed. Yeah. So should we say what we did with the dresses is another tip?
What do you mean? What did we do?
Well, it was kind of nice. The girls went to Laura went to an online place. Yeah, the pandemic was still going on during all this. You really couldn't go into a bridal store and try on dresses because everybody was being very careful with the pandemic. So they were going online to Azazi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they could all pick from the same dye lot, the color that they were going to dye the dresses, whatever dress they wanted to try on. They could send them through the mail, and I think you paid $10 to just try them on and send them back. And they could pick a style that they liked. So every style was different, but the color was all the same, except for Lucia, who was sage, because she was the maid of honor. So they started that process pretty early too. So
except the custom size online, like once you pick yours, you would order that, and it would be more expensive because it was custom. But for some of them, they didn't actually get the size quite right, so then we had to go and get it kind of fixed.
We did. We went to a seamstress that was helping Laura with her dress, which she got early too. She got it very early. And because we were on a budget, she found, somebody told her, a friend of hers told her about a place where a bridal store had closed down, and they gave them to a kind of a store where they resell things. So a resale store that was also for a good cause in our area. So she went and picked one early on, and it wasn't very much. She didn't have to pay that much for it. But then we did have to pay the seamstress to alter it, which is expected. And they altered some of the girls' dresses too, because that's something that we learned, that the custom sizing, like she said, it's not enough measurements that they're taking. So it's
custom, but it's not at the same time, because you can't do like, half. You have to do like full measurements. So it's like most measurements are included, but not all. So it's sort of custom.
Right. Like, whoever heard of measuring your shoulders? I don't think I've ever heard that, at least in our way we do our life. So that's what had to be fixed on Lucia's dress, was the shoulders were too wide and kind of boxy. Mm-hmm. But the seamstress could fix it. And she had run into this all the time. She said, they just don't take enough measurements. But anyway, so I'm going to try to wind it up. But the point of this was just to let you know that we had never done this before. We'd attended weddings many times, but never realized everything that goes into it. And we just didn't have the ability to just pay a place to do all of it. So if there's anything that you can take away from it that helps you with any planning, any party, anything, please do, because it was okay. So what I'll do is I'll finish up with the last few things that I think were like super helpful, but I don't want to forget to finish with the groom's parents and all that they did, helping, setting up, breaking down, getting engraved flutes for the bride and groom. I mean, I'm just trying to show how everybody was just helping all over the place. The wedding coordinator, as I said, she was indispensable. Highly, highly recommend somebody. Her name was alisa.scioscia, and we'll put her email down below. Can you do that? And you can email her. She'll let you know what fee, but she's very, very good. Very, 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 very helpful. Let me just tell you, I guess she wouldn't mind that I say this. She literally got something like a cyst on her knee the 2 days before their wedding. And I thought, well, I mean, she couldn't really walk on it. And I was like, well, we'll just have to, God will provide. We'll just have to make do somehow, maybe call somebody else, see if they can help. And she got a brace to wear, and she said it made it 90% better. And so she wasn't able to do everything, like the setting up. She wasn't able to be as involved in that. But she was there getting things like us decorator people were in charge of making the table seating chart, which was really pretty, which she'll put a picture up of it. And this wedding coordinator went out and got an easel for it because the easel we had was too flimsy. She went out and got like special soaker carpeting in case it rained, because it rained the day before, like a monsoon. I mean, just crazy rain. But that day it was just drizzling, but we didn't know that. And so it really didn't, there was even a lot of dry time too. So it worked out great. The photographer said it was better because it was overcast, and that's better for pictures. So she was running around there with her wounded knee, getting all this stuff, although she promised that she felt perfectly fine with the brace on her knee, and she would not let me tell Laura or Bobby that she had this situation, because I was telling her not to do this, and they definitely would have said, you just stay home and stay off your feet. But she was determined. She wanted to do it, and she did just the most fantastic job keeping everything flowing and helping at the actual wedding for people to go in at the right time, and opening and closing doors, and just putting out little problems. She was just solving everything. It was really wonderful. So I highly recommend that. And she's wonderful. And I want to forget to say the shoe boxes and the cake topper. And that will be the last two things I say. I just want to say, you'll see pictures. My other sister, I have two sisters. My one sister made just a boatload of cookies. It was so helpful because I don't think I made one cookie. And usually, I think I would have, but I was on decoration detail, so I didn't make one cookie. And she made so many, it helped so much, and so did the other people. But my other sister, she took, Lucia's and Laura's grandmother gave Laura her cake topper from when she got married. And she said, you don't have to use it, but if you want it, I want to give it to you. She still had it from 50 some years ago. So Laura wanted to use it. That was another fun thing.
Which is unusual because she doesn't really keep a whole lot of stuff. Like, she's a big thrower out of
their
things.
Grandmother, that is.
Like, if she doesn't use it, she's like, well, I'm just going to get rid of it.
She's very practical. Yeah. And it's wise. Yeah. It's very wise.
But for some reason
she hung on to her cake topper. It was a bride and groom. It was really, really neat. But it was, Laura just wanted it a little bit. My sister's an artist, the one that she gave the cake topper to, and said, could you just make it a little more modern and maybe put some flowers that the bride is holding that are like my flowers, or sort of, so it kind of has the feel of her and Bobby on top of the cake. So my sister spent 4 months, I think she said.
6, I think.
6 months? Mm-hmm. She took that cake topper apart, put it back together again. I think she must have added clay to make Laura's train come around Bobby. She made them resemble them. She literally filed down the faces on the cake toppers and painted them to look like them. She got pictures of what flowers Laura would have and what her hair would be like, and she just recreated the two of them on the cake topper. It was just a real amazing and huge blessing for the wedding. It was just really wonderful. But that, that's love. They were everybody was just being very loving, we love them and they love us, and it's wonderful. And weddings are times where that comes out, and it's a really wonderful thing. So she made that. I just want to, and I'm sure there's pictures up. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about that's really not really a tip, except here's the tip to go with the cake topper. Somebody told me when we were getting ready for the wedding that people like to be involved. They like to have a part in it. And so anytime you can think of something how somebody can help, they really do want to help. And it's going to bless you because it's going to help you. And you will find out that it's so much nicer, and things can be done because you have that help. And so ask people.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
It's just a funny memory. The presidential picture. Can I show that?
Okay.
So we just found it hysterical. When at the reception, when everyone was like in there, they had the bridal party, and then the parents, then the bridal party would come in and they would announce them. We have this picture of her and my dad, and the way their arms are crossed and his hand is like this, it looks like he's like in a presidential campaign event. Like they have their hands up, and it's really funny because it's like, oh, he's running for president. Okay.
It just completely looked that way. It didn't look like anything but that. Ed for president. And me as first lady. Okay, so, oh yes, here's just another tip. Planning out, like the day before we had to set up, planning everything and calling them tasks. What are all the tasks that need to be done? And we had a wonderful family. Actually, our pastor and his wife and kids, they all came and they all helped. And I knew they were coming the day before to set up. So I found lots of tasks that children could do. And they were so helpful. I was so glad I did. And I was so glad they came and helped. And I had all these different things, like putting the numbers on the little table stands the stands for the table numbers. We wanted, this is a cute story, and okay, this isn't really a tip, but it's a cute story. Laura's favorite flower is lilacs, and she had the color lilac in her wedding, and May is around the time the lilacs bloom, and we didn't think we were going to be able to have them. You certainly couldn't put them in a bouquet because they just don't stand up. They don't last. So her friend that did the flowers said, you just can't have lilacs, sorry. But she did a beautiful job with the flowers, really pretty. But they were blooming on our bushes and on my sister's bushes and on the wedding coordinator's bushes and on everybody's bushes. They hung out, they stayed alive longer because of the colder weather, I think my sister said. She's a master gardener. I think she said it was because of the weather was colder. So one of the tasks was we had all these vases to brighten up the lodge, and I think you probably have a picture. And so the kids that were there were helping arrange the lilacs. We collected a bunch in a bucket with water at the bottom to keep them alive, putting them in vases, putting lilacs everywhere. And their brother and their cousin ran out in the monsoon rain and picked lilacs more. We brought one bucket full. They went and picked lilacs from all these different bushes and brought them back. And it was just really, really neat that they did that. And they were kind of excited to do it. They were going on this adventure in the pouring rain to pick lilacs. So anyway, having tasks written out, every task, that was really important for when you're setting up for a DIY wedding. You have all these tasks listed. And then shoe boxes or boxes like this, a small box that can hold duct tape, scissors, pins, screwdrivers, labels, tape, pens and pencils, just all this measuring tape, all these little things that you will need. This box was for things that went to make, like, here's the table numbers, and these little boxes were part of the favors. This was more crafty stuff in here, but we would bring to the lodge that we had to decorate another box about this size that had all sorts of tools, literally screwdriver and drill, and just this box and the other box we called the little boxes. And if you were looking for anything little, we would just say, make sure you put it back in the little boxes, and if you need something of this nature, go look in the little boxes. So just the tip, it was really, we went into these boxes so many times, so it might be helpful for any kind of event. And I might be saying things that people just do and know, but it was new to us because it was such a big event. And one thing Laura had requested was I make lip balms, so she asked me to make lip balms with their picture and their saying on it. And so I'll show you one of the favors. So here was someone, a little boy, he was sick. They had children. At the beginning when we were talking about who was to come, they invited families too with children. This was one little boy. He wasn't able to come because he was sick. But here were the lip balms, right there. And here's the ingredients for the lip balms. So, like, I had to keep track of these stickers, these little cards with each person's name on it, the ribbon that we were using, and the little twine that we're using. And again, everybody was so loving. A friend from church made this design sticker for them to put on their envelopes or anywhere, and so we put them on the favors. And inside the favors, we tried to, it's the little details that are really, really fun, and you can do the little details if you write everything down and you think it over. These are ribbons that go around candy in little bags. There's little M&Ms with their names on them, and just married and things like that. And then these have paw prints because of Laura's business, and that they, basically because of her business. And little Hershey kisses for kissing.
We got custom colors of M&Ms because they don't come in the regular
thing. We did. They're not exactly. I mean, these are pretty close to the dresses, I think. Mm-hmm. This was sort of a greenish blue M&M, but it was more of a light sage. Like this ribbon was what her dress was like. So we could do this, and we wouldn't have been able to if we hadn't started planning so early. I think it would have been a simpler. And that's the other thing. If you don't, we had a whole year. And we had a lot of people who we enlisted to help. But if you can't, just go simpler. It's fine. It's really fine. But it was really important to Laura and Bobby to have everybody's name on the favor, and I think they appreciated that. I hope there was some helpful things for people.
Sure, and there was. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share all that, because
yep,
it's really fun.
Well, we're not quite done yet because we have the Taylor treasure box. We're going to go to that, and then we'll come back and do a little short ending of the difference between her wedding and Laura's wedding. So, we'll be right back. And now it is time for the Taylor treasure box.
Okay. Do I read it now?
Mm-hmm.
If you could replace all the grass in the world with something else, what would it be and why? This is perfect for me. I just saw a picture the other day of somebody's front yard that they turned into a garden. Sometimes people, do it with flowers. I myself would say, hey, grow some food. So I would say replace all the grass in the world with all the grass in the world? Well, I guess, maybe I don't feel this way if it's all the grass in the world. You need grass.
That's not the point of the question. The point is, what is your second,
Like,
favorite
instead
thing?
of grass, what would I want there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think you were very confident with that answer. Now you're not.
Yeah, because I think I was thinking it's nice to change some of the grass into growing food, growing gardens. But if it was all just food everywhere, that would just be too much food. So,
I think you're overthinking this.
I totally am, because that's what I do.
This is what she does.
I do this all the time.
It's just a hypothetical fun question that you're trying to turn into.
All right, fruits and vegetables. There you go.
Okay. All right. Mine is, say I've been trying to reach you at your car's extended warranty in the Crown's Queen Elizabeth voice.
You can do this.
Yeah. Hey, you've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. No, that's not it. No, wait.
I thought that was good.
Let me try it again. Yeah. I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. I don't have her voice, but the only thing I can do is the yeah.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Charles.
If you were saying Charles in the extended warranty part, it'd probably get you in the mode.
Okay, so the Taylor Treasure Box, and now we'll go on to the last segment. Alright, so before we start, she has one more thing she said she most definitely has to say. So, what's that?
I'm cheating. I'm back on the other subject.
She couldn't help herself.
I couldn't. I just wanted to show you something that was so helpful. This was the table decorations for the lodge, so that if we couldn't be there, or if we were busy on other things, like we had to hang a curtain and some other stuff, I had it all listed. I had table decorations at lodge, white tablecloth, then a lace tablecloth, lilac runner, ribbon garland down the center. It looked like little leaves. The centerpiece. I never showed them the centerpiece. I worked for a year on these. So, let's turn them into yellow. We don't want that color. And they were buried better. Can you see that they light up? It lights up.
Mm-hmm.
So we had ribbon and organza ribbon, and then I worked on these. We put these little hydrated balls in here. Orbeez that would light up with the light. Right now the light is not placed in a good position because it's just, there we go. Something like that. And we had those in the middle of the table, so maybe we'll do that while I finish this. And then two votives on the two ends, because we did long tables instead of round. And I wrote what the ceiling decorations were, because there was greenery on the lights, and then these white lantern balls that were hanging. How the fireplace would be decorated, because there were two fireplaces. There were four, but two mantles. It's really a charming place. And the sweethearts table that they sat at. Okay, so I had listed everything, and then I had pictures of mock examples in our house. Like, I just set it up just on our table at home, just to show them what it would look like, and picture what the centerpiece would look like, and what the mantles would look like, and just a little hint here what the ceiling would look like with the greenery on the lights. And it was so helpful because everybody just went to work. They knew what to do because of this, and because we set up a mock table, one first for everybody to look at, and then we didn't have to do it all. Everybody could help. So it's nice to have stuff written down that's going to be how it's going to be, how you've thought it out, how you've planned it, so that anybody could pick it up and follow it and say, okay, we can just go do that.
Okay.
So I probably took too much time on that. Should I turn this off?
Yeah. All right, so for the last part here, we had a request to share the difference between Laura's wedding and her wedding, which she got married in the 90s.
1993, August 21st, 1993.
So, what are your main things that you saw
Okay.
that were different from your wedding?
First off, thank you to the person who requested this. Thank you very much. And real quickly, I just want to say what a wonderful job Lucia did. She was really can I say you were nervous about dealing with the dress and all your... She did so well with dealing with Laura's dress and helping her with her bouquet and everything. She did really well, and I'm sorry to anyone that I forgot to mention within this discussion of things that they helped with or things that they provided. So now on to the differences between my wedding so long ago in the early 90s and Laura's wedding now. I'd start off saying that the style in any era actually would be different.
I'd say a big thing I always notice is they don't do black and white with bow tie tuxes anymore. Now it's just ties.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look, sometimes the suits, like Bobby's was gray, but I feel like it was very much back in, the 90s back. All the guys always wore the black and white with a bow tie. But now it's more casual, I guess. You could choose what color you want. You could do, most people do ties, so I noticed that.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that. Thank you. I would say that there was more things done traditionally. The garter, the throwing of the bouquet. I mean, people still do these things, but they don't all do them. And there was just every wedding you went to, I felt like, at least in my circle of life, there were certain things that just were done. And I found that at least, I think it's all weddings now. I don't think it was just theirs. There was a lot of personal things that they had. Like they wanted pictures of their parents and their grandparents from when they got married, or just pictures of them if they didn't have one of when on their wedding day, that we had on the ledges when you went downstairs to get your food, with greenery and lilacs.
More, you would say, personalized now.
More personalized, yeah, and they do so many different things. I mean, whatever it is that you want. Oh, here's a difference. The cutting of the cake and the dance was always after dinner. You had dinner, and then there would be the first bridal dance, and then cut the cake after that. And here it was really nice. I liked it a lot. They came in, and I remember noticing that you kind of lose people's attention, I think, when it's later in the night or evening. Theirs was a morning wedding, by the way. It was a morning wedding, and it was sort of like a lunch, dinner type. It was dinner food, but it was like it more like a late lunch. Linner, as they say. Lunch and dinner. So they came in, and they, had the introduction. All the bridal party came in, and they came in, and then they did their dance. And I just want to say they practiced a ballroom dance. So they did this beautiful ballroom dance. And they did it at the beginning, and everybody had been milling around and mingling, so they were all able to see. We had a setup that there were like three different, there's the main room and two side wing rooms. So this way everybody was kind of up and they could watch and they could see. And after that, they did the father-daughter dance and the mother-son dance.
And all the speeches. So far they got everything out of the way, and then people could
and they
eat.
cut the cake. And everybody was just attentive. Everybody was watching, and everybody was interested and involved and having fun with it. They did a cute fun thing in the father-daughter dance that made everybody laugh. But anyway, it was all done at the beginning. That's very different than when I was married. So there's that. And social media. Wow. That's really different. I mean, you had a certain amount of pictures. And I didn't know the social media rules. So to anybody out there who happens to be watching this that saw pictures of Laura's wedding, I think I put like too many out before she did. And mine were just on my camera. They weren't the professional ones. And then she put out the professional ones. And just to be able to share that with people, like that was not in my time. I mean, you had to wait a long time to get them developed. I mean, they were literally on rolls of film. And then you had to choose whichever ones you wanted to have in your actual wedding album. And then if you weren't seeing certain people, they weren't really ever going to see them, really. So social media, wow, that makes it really different. So that's different. I'd say dress styles are different.
No poofy sleeves.
No, I had the
Your
poofy.
sleeves
I had
were...
the end of the 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
I loved it, but that's not what they have now. The sweetheart neckline. Anyway, what else was different? I had things. I mean, the thought of, like, Laura and Bobby had their cousin make a beautiful cake, but it was a very small cake. And then it was the cupcakes that the friend from church made that were handed out to everybody after dinner, that the servers brought them around. So that wasn't, I don't remember that. They actually cut up the cake. It was a bigger cake, and they cut up all the pieces.
They don't really do that now. It's always, even if they don't have cupcakes at a wedding, they have a separate cake for everybody else, and then there's this separate cake.
That started too. They'll have like a sheet cake in the back, and they just cut that and bring out those pieces. And at least I'm pretty sure that most weddings in my time, you actually got a piece of the cake. Here's a cute little story. When I was little, I was told that if you wrapped your piece of cake and didn't eat it, wrapped it in a napkin, and put it under your pillow, wrapped in that napkin, and slept on it, when you got home, you would dream about who you were going to marry.
You didn't?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Would have been a mess in the morning.
It really wasn't. It was smashed, but it was flat. It wasn't like falling out. But it was wrapped in the napkin really nicely. So,
anything else?
I thought of more, but I'm drawing a blank right now. I mean, love and marriage is still the same. It's still there.
Okay. All right.
But what else? There has to be other stuff. Well, I guess some people. No, we didn't have it either. The thing on the back of the car, the cans, and just married.
That's a very old thing.
We didn't have that. I think it depends on who has time. That's one of those dream plans. Like if you can do it, that's great. But if you don't have time to fit it in, you can't. The receiving line. We did a receiving line for Laura's wedding, but I think I'm noticing that receiving lines after they're married, at the church,
That doesn't really happen.
It doesn't seem to happen as much. I think the bride and groom still goes around to the table, but to different tables to say hello to everybody.
Well, how about the has it always been this way that the bridal party comes down separately, like the women, but the men are already up there?
Oh, yeah, that was a discussion. Right. Okay, so when I got married, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids walked in together in their pairs. And it was only the best man and the groom who started. They just came out and was at the front. And everybody came in pairs. But now it seems like all the groomsmen come out together with the groom and the best man, and it's just the singular bridesmaids that come down, and then when they leave they pair up with the groomsmen, and when they come into the reception they're paired up with the groomsmen. So that seems to be like a changing thing. Oh, I can go back a little further to my mother's wedding. Her wedding, and it's really neat. Oh, Laura, if you're watching this, because I know you're not back yet, Grandma Pat's wedding was a brunch, and it was a morning wedding, and that's pretty much all they did. They got married. They had the bridal party and the dresses and everything. Yes, so Laura and Bobby had a morning wedding, but it ended up going because of pictures. That's another thing. Our pictures were just at wherever the ceremony was, and then you went to the reception. Now they kind of go somewhere and take extra pictures. That was not a thing, I don't think, when I got married. That wasn't a thing. So yeah, that's different. But anyway, so 2 generations back, my mother had a morning wedding and a brunch, and Laura, her granddaughter, my daughter, had a morning wedding and sort of a lunch dinner. So that's kind of neat. There's not, at least around here, a lot of weddings are usually around 1 or 2, maybe even 3 or 4. If it's 1 or 2, if they're going to go get pictures taken somewhere else, and then you show up at the reception at 4. So they did a sort of in the middle of the day thing. They didn't do the evening thing. Is there anything else you can think of from what I've talked about, or?
I guess we should end there.
Okay, hopefully that's enough comparison.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some things are always going to be kind of the same, with weddings, I guess.
Love.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for coming on. That's wonderful information.
It was
I'm sure
fun, and I
like
feel a little more comfortable than I thought I would have. So thank
you're
you,
more
everybody. Thank you,
than
Lucia.
you used to be, so
Yeah,
yep.
You're helping me.
All right. So again, thank you for coming on. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I'm sure you learned a lot. And make sure to give this video a like and a comment, and make sure to subscribe. And after you subscribe, make sure to press the bell so you get all of our videos in your notifications box. And you can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is Taylor Treasures Official, and TikTok is just Taylor Treasures. There's a lot of stuff on there that you can't watch on this channel. So, it was awesome having you on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And Elisa's email will be down below if anybody wants to contact her.
Anyone's having a wedding. Yeah, and you can do that. And I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!